Okay guys, so this is your 7.2 notes day 2. Yesterday we talked about slope and we found the slope of a line using a graph. And so we had been talking about this before in the last module. We just didn't call it slope. Remember, we called it the common difference, or we've been calling it the rate of change. So yesterday on the graph, it was really easy to count, up and down, left and right to find that information without having to make the table and write the equation and all that stuff. So what happens when I'm just given no graph, no table, just ordered pairs? Remember, an X and a Y. Well, we use what's called the slope formula. Okay, and we're going to use the letter M to represent the slope, and it's going to equal your y2 minus your y1 over your x2 minus x1. And I know you're probably looking at that like there's 5 letters in there. What are we doing? Well, it's really not that complicated. Okay, so it says find the slope of a line that passes through the points C and D. So they're just labeling like what points they would be, so you don't have to worry about that. So this right here, remember, in an ordered pair, the number that's first is your x, and the number that's second is your y. So this first one right here would be your first x, and this would be your first y. In your second ordered pair, this would be your second x and your second y. And all we have to do is plug numbers into this equation. Okay, so all we are doing is combining numbers, adding and subtracting. It's really not that bad. All right, so I want you guys to write the slope formula down every single time. The more you write it, the better it's going to be. So M is equal to, remember, M is slope, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We've been talking about this for a while. Y always goes on the top, x goes on the bottom. So let's plug it in. So y2 would be this one right here, y2. So 2 minus my y1, which is right here. Now this is where it gets a little tricky because it's a negative 4. Over my x2, so that's this one right here, minus my x1, and again I've got another negative there. Guys, if you just type these in just like it is into your calculator, you'll get the right answer. But it's 2 minus a negative 4. Minus a negative, that becomes a big positive because you're just combining all these numbers, a big positive. Combining these numbers together, that becomes 6. 2 minus negative 1, again, that becomes a big positive, over 3. We talked about this earlier in the week. We want to simplify this down. 6 divided by 3 is actually 2 over 1, or just 2. So on this graph, what it would look like is this graph is going up 2 and then right 1. Okay, so this would be a positive slope going upwards. Okay, let's do that again. Always label your points. I still do this. x1, y1, x2, y2. Write your formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And let's just plug these in. So y2, right here, is 3, minus my y2, which is 2. x2, right here we've got negative 4, minus my x1. It's always the same. This is what it's always going to look like. So 3 minus 2 is 1. We've got 4 negatives and 1 negative, which would be 5 negatives. Now, this negative really doesn't go with like the top number or the bottom number. It just makes the fraction negative. So this graph would either look like it's going down 1 and then right 5, or you could go up 1, left 5. Okay. Again, label those points. So we got x1, y1, x2, y2. Write our formula. M is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Plug in our points. So our y2 is 3. My y1 is 2 over my x2, which is 5, minus my x1, which is 2. 3 minus 2, 1. 5 minus 2, 3. 1 over 3. So this graph would be positive. It's going up 1, right 3. That's your common difference. That's your rate of change. That's your slope. Okay. Okay, next one. So we have negative 2, 1. So that's my x1, y1, x2, y2. Write our formula. M is equal to y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So my y2 is negative 3 minus my y1, which is 1, x2 is 0, minus a negative 2. And you notice whenever I have minus a negative, I always put that in parentheses, okay? So we have 3 negatives, 1 negative, that's 4 negatives. When you have these 2 negatives together, that becomes a big plus. So 0 plus 2 is 2. Now this fraction right here is not simplified. It can be reduced down. So if you take negative 4 divided by 2 in your calculators, you would get negative 2 over 1 or negative 2. Same thing. This graph though would be negative. It's going down 2 and right 1 each time. Okay. Another one of these. So again, x1, y1, x2, y2. M is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Plug our numbers in. So our y2 is negative 2 minus my y1, which is a negative 4. And again, if you just type this into your calculator correctly, it's going to give you the right answer. x2, we got negative 3 minus x1, which is negative 7. And order does matter here. It matters what numbers you put where. So remember when we got a negative and a negative, like that becomes a big plus sign there. So we've got negative 2 and 4 positives, which would be positive 2. That becomes that big positive right there. So we got 3 negatives, 7 positives, which gets us 4. That fraction can be simplified down. You can make it a smaller fraction. And you do that, remember, by dividing. Okay, so that becomes 1 over 2. Simplify your fraction. Up 1, right 2. Okay, let's do one more of these. So x1, y1, x2, y2. Plug it into your formula. y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Remember, y always on the top. So our y2 is 0. Our y1 is 3. x2 is 2 minus 3. So we have 0 minus 3. I've got 0. Take away 3. That's a negative 3. 2 minus 3 is a negative 1. Now if you look at this, both of these are negatives, right? A negative divided by a negative. When you have a negative divided by a negative, your answer equals a positive. So negative 3 divided by negative 1 is equal to positive 3 over 1, or just positive 3. Got to be careful with that on your graph. This is actually going up 3 and right 1. Okay. All right, the last thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about slope triangles. Okay, so Jose, Rawa, and Min each draw a triangle to show the rise and the run of the line. So I'm going to label mine like what yours looks like. So this is Jose, this is Rawa, and this one down here is Min. Okay, so you can see all 3 of these triangles are different sizes, but all of them lie on this line right here. Okay, what slope did Jose calculate? Okay, did Jose calculate? So if I think about this right here, these all make perfect little points. And so go ahead and draw those on your guys' graph. So if I look at Jose's graph, okay, Jose is this big giant blue one. Okay, the yellow one, Rawa, is covering it, but Jose's is this big giant one. So we want to write the ordered pair for Jose's graph. So this point right here, remember you always go over to 4, so it's 4, and then I go up to 3, so that's one of his points, and then this one over here is his other point, which is over to 16, and then it goes all the way up here to 12. So those are Jose's points, and I'm going to figure out his slope using our formula. So x1, y1, x2, y2, and then I'm just going to write that formula over here. y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. All right, so we've got 12 minus 3 over 16 minus 4. So 12 minus 3 is 9. 16 minus 4 is 12. Now I can simplify that fraction. I can make it smaller, reduce it. I can divide them both by 3, and I get a slope of 3 over 4. That's Jose's slope. And you can see that I can go up 3 spaces to the right 4, and I still hit that line. I can do it again, up 3, right 4, and I hit that line. Up 3, right 4, and I hit the line. All right, so now let's do Rawa's. So here's Rawa's, these points right here. So I have 4, 3, and then I have this point over here, which is 12 and 9. Okay, I'm going to label those. Remember, that's x1, y1, x2, y2. So we have 9 minus 3 all over 12 minus 4. 9 minus 3 is 6. 12 minus 4 is 8. That fraction is even, so I can simplify it. I'm going to divide both of those by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 3 over 4. Again, up 3, right 4. Up 3, right 4. Those are the same. I wonder if there's something to that. So let's now do Min. So Min has these 2 points right here. So she has a point of 0, 0. And then this point right here is 4, 3. So again, I've got x1, y1, x2, y2. Going to plug into our formula. We have 3 minus 0 over 4 minus 0. So we have 3 minus 0 is 3. 4 minus 0 is 4. 3 over 4. They're all the same. So that brings me to this question. Are the triangles similar? How do you know? So the word similar means not same, but they have things that are alike. And so yes, these triangles are similar. And I know they are similar because they have the same slope. They all fall on this line. So even though Jose's triangle is much bigger than Rawa's or Min's, but because they're on this line, they have the same slope, okay? So explain why you can find the slope of a line using any 2 points. So again, we've been, we use this point or this point or this point or this point. So it's because these are like slope triangles, is what we would call them. Same slope along the line. So if you kind of think about this like stairs, right? When you're making stairs, they all are on a line, right? But you want to make sure your stairs kind of stair step the same. And so all of those would have that same slope just because they're following along on that same line. All right, guys, so that's the end of the notes today. You guys are going to do your 7.2 day 2 homework 1 through 9 all.